Welcome, everybody. It's your boy, the Versace Stunner. We're back with a very breaking kind of news podcast here. We're gonna be talking and reaching out with the JWO in a little bit. We are just gonna go and get right into it. KPW is back. I don't know really how to say it. It's kind of like when it came back, and that's kind of what we're gonna talk about. Um, it's not too much of a pleasant subject. All of us were dragged out. We're gonna go through all that, the kind of the history of it all, and everything kind of tonight, getting people up to date. Let's give the boys a call, and we will go from there. Um, you know, like I said, this is kind of touchy subject, as a lot of us were put through a lot of pain and suffering within, KPW. Let me just get into this messages here. See if we can get a hold of everybody.
Hello.
Rob, you're here. Very
What's
good.
up, brother?
Oh, hello.
TJ, you're here. What's up, brother? I was just telling the fans, this is like the beginning of the movie It, and I'm like giving the phone call. Hey, it's back. Um,
Oh, yeah.
I'm getting that kind of vibe from this. But I figured I'd bring you guys on. We'll go through some of the history of KPW. The early days. Um, the raising the cage, all that other stuff that took place, and then we're gonna talk a little bit about some of the new stuff. The new letters that have been coming out, and one involves your daughter. One involves another JWO member. Maybe we'll call him when that time gets close too. Um, we'll get into all that excitement because Death Day 2 is coming back. We have confirmation.
Yeah, definitely.
Yep.
Um,
It
you
was
know,
it was making a whole lot of sense to me that they were gonna come back and shit. But to be honest, I was looking at my clock on my freaking phone and shit every single day, just wondering what the hell's up, what the hell's going on with these guys.
well,
And you know how you eventually ask the question enough, and the devil will appear, right?
yes.
Well, that's
And yeah,
exactly what
that
the
guy
fuck
is the
happened.
devil.
You got the
Yeah.
devil. And that's the thing, we were teased with the KPW's return in the past. There was talks of, challengers against your title, which we'll get into that. And, things kind of were just thrown around, but, the founding fathers never put anything in motion. Granted, you know, um, it was almost kind of like they lost interest in us for a minute, kind of forgot about us. But they really didn't. And, things are just kind of heating up now as they're pulling out, more and more stunts, tricks, and other kind of charades here at this, next show. I don't even know what to expect. But, the early days of KPW, folks, we were all there. We were all part of this thing. We all got a letter way, way, way back when. I'm going to actually pull those up. We're going to talk about those, and kind of what you felt like when you got those letters because that was we just saw I'm bringing it up because we just saw a post by them on their new renovated KPW page, and it has the old man giving the letters, and it's just like, oh my god. Like seeing that face, seeing the whole thing, it was very kind of disturbing.
Yeah,
Yeah, I know.
when I saw that post go up and shit, I immediately commented and shit, and you responded right back. So did Rob, and I went. He even posted right back on the same exact thing and shit. Sharing that post and shit, and asking, what does he want with us, And I went on his thing and I commented too and shit. I was like, I have no fucking clue But whatever he's gone through with KPW and shit. He doesn't look the best of times. When me and Rob saw him, he was shaved up and looking creepy and shit. Now he looks even more weathered and creepy with that fucking beard.
Yeah, it's a weird situation. Just that whole guy in general, why they would pick him. He's not, the youth. He's not a fighter. He's not a wrestler. He's not another combatant. He's not another, major player, unless he's like the owner of KPW, like the old man in Squid Games. I honestly don't know. It baffles me. It baffles the shit out of me. He reminds me of like the tall man from that series of movies with the kid in the cemetery. The
Yeah,
mortician,
Phantasm. That's the tall man.
Phantasm. It
Yeah,
kind of
the
reminds me of
Phantasm guy. Yeah, or the
right.
guy, or the old guy from fucking Poltergeist.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Poltergeist 2 there, the old guy humming his song, singing his shit going.
yep,
Yep.
In his
yep,
holy temple. Yep, exactly.
yep.
So, going back, TJ, I think you were one of the first people to grab a letter, and it came like this. It said, TJ Tucker, we know that you were taught by old man Tucker in HWF. We know you have a brother in the same sport. Well, yeah, Jamie. Everybody knows Jamie. He's blown up. Since then,
Yeah, he
anyways.
is.
Since then he has. Back then he was still, I think, like one of them young guns or something, kind of just getting his foot in the door, getting signed at other promotions, kind of doing the footwork, helping out, doing behind the scenes stuff, and then like a little bit after this, he kind of started to blow up, and now he's just he's everywhere, Dirt City Murder Crew, all over the place. Okay, so we got that. You're the Tucker we want from the clan. So they never really wanted your brother though; they wanted you. We figured that out. He was never given a letter. He was never reached out to. He was never even bothered. Um,
Yep.
you have a certain level of wrestling that our brand is looking for. I'm guessing that's the violence that you bring.
You gotta be.
We feel that you will excel in this future endeavor, which I believe you have in some ways.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, I have. It's creepy hearing this in retrospect and reading it back in retrospect and shit. They gave me a way to get my foot in quite a few fucking doors out there, and I'm not gonna lie to you. They were a Fed that actually, put me up for the KPW Interstate Championship, and I fucking won. I'm the KPW Interstate Champion right now, holding on to that piece of blue gold as we speak. So as much as they're fucking with us so fucking bad, I have to give praise and respect to the company. Yeah, but as
They
far
they
as
had a
that, it
feeling
only
about they had a feeling about you, and they were right. Um,
yeah. As
and
far
then
as
it
that
just
goes, I will say yes, indeed. Um, definitely happy for me being in the company and everything. I just, as far as they go themselves, yeah, that needs to be looked at a little bit more.
and then it just says, this is a demand, not a choice. See you soon. Very creepy. And we were just, the wagon came out, soon after, whenever, to bring us all to Death Day 1. Um, so, I mean, like I said, just very kind of, you know, creepy, like I said, and they pulling things. And then, they pulled me out. They go, hey, Pride Billy, my old boxing name. No more hitting the bag. You did better off. You did better off your injury, anyways. Just mocking that. I pulled my
Yeah,
back out.
there's an insult right there. Instantly off the bat, they're trying to bait you.
They are. They are. They say we live. We see you live in the Versace lifestyle. You're a changed beast. What was it they called you in school? Psycho. Yeah, some kids used to make fun of me because I was like into the goth music, ICP, different things that normal kids weren't into. I liked horror movies. I liked freaking, the Insane Clown Posse. Like I said, I liked also, at the time Marilyn Manson was rather hitting it big with the Antichrist Superstar, and all that was going on. So I was into kind of that scene. I was into different things that people weren't. So yeah, they made fun of me. Okay, let's move fucking on.
Yep.
Um, we think you still are. So come and play. This is a demand, not a choice. Your new boss. So they still think I'm a little crazy, which we are. I mean, look, we're the fucking JWO. We've made it through fucking a lot of craziness, and we're still here. Yeah, of course I'm crazy. We're all crazy. We're all fucking batshit crazy.
Oh yeah.
Um,
Shit, when I started my New England chapter of the JWO and shit, it was back in 2015, and I was like, I'm gonna ride this shit out and everything, and then eventually, RW knocked on my door again and found me, and I started promoting my shit even a little bit more heavier on there and shit, and it took quite some time, but before I know it, I was starting to gain prospects, and those prospects became members, and then I started really posting out about the birth of the JWO New England chapter, and everyone at first was real confused about those videos because you'd see my stories on Facebook and you'd click through the stories, and then all of a sudden there'd be a snow screen on one, and then the next story would click over and you'd see an O with the word order underneath it, and then it would go back to regular shit, would fritz out again, and then go back to my regularly planned story, and then eventually it started getting more than just order. Out of nowhere, you saw order, world, order, world, order. Then the next thing you know, the J comes in there and starts plugging in. Then people stop putting the fucking words together. JWO. The next thing I know, boom, out comes the JWO platform and shit. And I'm like, well, time to fucking get this plane off the fucking ground. Right when I pulled that shit off, I pulled off the tarmac with that bullshit. And next thing I know, I look over on the side of me, and right on the side of me is Rob and shit. And I'm like, okay, well, let's get this fucking game going now. I got him in the fucking plane. Let's start going from here. And once my BP was in the freaking corner on the side of me, I'm like, all right, let's get this shit going. I need more prospects.
That's right, brother. That's right.
I mean, you
I
even got me.
told
You
Rob, I
even
said,
got
get your
me in
ass
there.
on the horn. I want every freaking backyarder or independenter to know about us. So talk to whoever you got to and shit and ask if they're down for the cause. Tell them exactly what it is and everything and shit.
I
And
mean,
he laid it on the line for a bunch of people. And lo and behold, the applications started coming in.
and
And
then, yeah, I mean,
boom,
they
just
even, like
the
I said, you
prospects,
guys even
boom.
reached out to me. You reached out to me for a keeper position. I said, sure. I've seen some of these prospects kind of grow into KPW killers. Um, it's kind of amazing what you've been able to do with, the group of people that you found and kind of brought into this. Not to mention the general too. Um,
Yeah, when it came to picks, I was very picky on that matter because I was stuck between Picks and Rob for VP, honestly, because I was looking at it, but I'm thinking to myself, and I'm going, no, Picks. Picks came to me a long ass time ago, but Rob was there before everything else even started to pop off.
well,
So,
that's
That's
the
right.
thing, and you know what?
so
With
I'm like,
honestly,
no, that's my VP right there. Plus, it's no offense to Picks, but I was like, I need a VP. I need a vice president that has a voice and can be heard. And
yeah, that's
you
what I
know,
was gonna say.
and
Pix is great, but he
Rob
doesn't
was
really
like, I
speak.
agree on that. Pix nodded his head and everything. And I said, but don't forget that I'm not going to forget about you, Pix. He tilted his head. He looked at me with confusion. I'm like, don't look at me with confusion and shit. Don't worry. I don't forget where my freaking roots came from and everything like that too and shit. And I don't forget where blood ties is blood ties and everything, and brothers is brothers and everything. I'm not saying I'm related to the man other than that he's a hatchet brother, but other than that, I looked at him and I was like, "Don't think I forgot about you, big man. I know exactly where you're gonna fit in." So I said that, and he tilted his head the other way, and I'm like, "You're gonna be our wall for the JWO. Anybody who wants to get to me or Rob, they got to go through you first." So I said, in that case, with all these prospects and possible new soldiers that are going to come in and everything, they got a president and a vice president. What they need is a general.
Yep.
And I saw underneath this mask his cheekbones risen underneath his mask, and I'm like, that makes you happy, doesn't it? And he nodded and shit. So I said, well, General Pickles, now you got your position. He gave me a big freaking hug and everything. And I said, that's no problem, man. I got you. Celebrated with me and my VP that night with a bunch of juggalette groupies and a whole shitload of weed and Fago.
Oh my God, that was a fucking party, was it not?
Oh, it was, wasn't it? Yo, you remember them two? You remember them
I
two, Rex?
Dude,
wild
yeah.
times.
Let's not forget about those girls.
Yeah, shit.
Wild times. Wild times, boys. But speaking of wild times, let's, get to Robbie's letter. This was kind of a little bit going back too. Hey, hardcore legend Rob Roberts, we finally are going to meet. Or have we already? I mean, maybe it's somebody you know. You
I
like,
don't even know, dude.
I don't know.
Instantly instigating straight off the bat, planting shit in his head right there. Does he know us? Do you know us, Robbie? Can we fuck with him anymore? I fucking
But then
oh,
they
that
start
shit goes
pulling,
up my back now that they've done that shit.
but then they start to pull out, some old stunts and, or pulling out the facts. You like judo. They know about your judo history. Training at Yankee Pro Wrestling. They know about that. They know about your work at the Plow Hall. All your work you did there. That was hardcore. That's what we want. Um, we seen you on YouTube. Now we want to see you in person. So they must have seen a match or something. I don't know.
They must have seen all my matches from back in the '90s, dude. It's
You
fucking
had your
insane.
'90s matches.
It
Some of
was
them. I
there,
mean, I've
and
I've come across a few of yours. Then you did. I think. Yeah. I mean, you had those ones, and like I said, I think you did an RW match at around some time. Around when
Yeah, I
yeah,
did.
it was him teaming up with Zach Justice, I believe, at that time and
Yeah, the
shit.
tag team. So
Yeah,
he was kind of getting on the YouTube, and so because that show was aired weekly or whatever. The matches were aired out, so he was seen. Okay, so now we figure it's someone that's either known you for a long time or kind of found your history out. And of course, it
either
ends. This is a demand, not a choice. Your new boss, KPW.
it's like we demand you to be there. It's like, first of all, you don't demand me for anything. You
Anything,
ask
any
me.
of us. Jesus.
No, and then there was another message that came in from one of our I guess it's now I've been confirmed ex KPW member. They have the founding fathers really don't get into much detail when it comes to former talent. When people leave KPW, they don't really disclose what happens to them, where they go, what happened to their what happens to them. We most of the people that have left, I've never heard of, seen of again. At least
Yeah,
Yeah,
but another letter came in and it says this. It says, "You think we forgot about you? It's been a while since training with Rob Roberts." So they're bringing in Robbie once again. Really kind of honing in on Rob's past. And you used to be a trainer back in the day at the ACW days, and you used to have a lot of students, a lot of kids,
yes, I did.
wanting to learn wrestling and learn. It says it's been a while since ACW, so they're bringing it in. It's back then. It says in this, they're asking if they're still tough. We
Oh
aren't
God,
sure. We saw your recent footage and aren't convinced. So I don't know who it could be because I mean I'm trying to think who was wrestling at the time. We want you to prove how tough you are. Join us. This is a demand, not a choice. Your new boss. Again, so that was a letter from a former, KPW employee or wrestler that is
yeah.
just no longer with us. And like I said, just
It
up
all
and
started
vanished.
with these fucking letters. We
You
all
know,
got them, and
we
all at separate times, but we all collaborated in one long interview a long time ago. Even the ex KPW wrestler that you're describing right there was in that interview. I don't know where the hell those two interviews went, but they disappeared somehow. But I've
this
tried to get them
I
back on
mean
the KPW playlist, but I
But
can't
that's the
find them
funny thing
anywhere.
about it. KPW sends me a thing, and they're like, "Look, we don't want." They're kind of like like WWE. They're like, "We don't want you showing old footage. We kind of want you don't mentioning old people's names. When someone is removed from KPW or let go, we don't want their name mentioned."
yep.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it's kind of on that kind of like Vince McMahon situation when he
Yeah,
doesn't like
but
somebody, he
they
just gets
also
rid
got
of
to
them.
understand too that it is done out of respect and everything. It's water under the bridge, and no matter what the problem
Well,
was, and
exactly,
shit.
because to be honest with you, like I said, I don't know the situation of these ex wrestlers, so I'm not going to go and mention their name if there's some kind of issue or whatever KPW founding fathers have done to them. I'm not trying to bring no heat or any kind
No,
of anything on
exactly.
me.
from what I've heard too, from what I've heard too, if it was that serious and shit, I was amazed they let him go and let him go with his life included. Because I've heard of other stories of employees that have been down the line that me and Rob have never even heard of. We've never fought or heard of and shit. And there's a reason for that. It's because they didn't go too far, and they began in KPW. I've heard quite a few of them have been actually snuffed out.
Well, that's what I'm
Yep.
saying. I don't even know if that happened to this ex-employee because I haven't heard from him since. So, like I said, out of respect, I don't mention their names. And KPW though does send me letters saying, "Yo, if you're gonna interview guys, do not mention the previous and do don't
Yep.
if you're gonna talk about matches, you can talk about it, but just don't mention names. And they don't want me showing too much footage with the ex employees for whatever reason, liability. I don't know how it's run. I don't ask too many questions. All I know is I am going over the history of what is taking place. All of us together were dragged out to this death day. And it was a death day. It was a brutal death day. There was another guy out there too. That if I don't know if you remember him, his name was El Loco. Crazy, crazy, Mexican referee.
Yeah,
Oh
yeah,
my
that was the
God.
motherfucker that I met that day at Death Day and shit.
Just
Was he not
He had a match
strange?
earlier on that day with my VP and shit. And right after that match and shit, I was hanging out some point of some part of the cemetery, and all of a sudden I hear breathing behind me, I turn around and there's this motherfucker with a luchador mask right there. You can see that, guys. Anybody's curious on what I'm talking about, go on my KPW uh playlist, and you'll see it comes after Rob has a match with El Loco. This guy comes up behind me and shit, and I turn around and there he is and shit. And I'm like, "Who the fuck are you?" He looks at me, "Loco." And I'm like, "Yeah, you must be Loco. You come around here and freaking sneak up on me. What the fuck is the matter with you? What the
and that
fuck are you trying to do?" And
and that
he's speaking Spanish to me and everything. I can hardly understand him, but I can hear something of what they call on the street is Spanglish. It's a mixture
Spanglish.
of English and Spanish. And he says, "Si, senor, juggalo." And he points to my shirt, and I'm like, "Oh, juggalo, you understand this? You telling me you support me or whatever?" He's like, "Yeah, see, I too, wrestler." I'm like,
Well, that's the
"Yeah, you're
thing. We found out, him too was down with the clown. He came out, to an ICP song. He was a
yeah,
cool dude. Cool dude. But like I said, very mysterious. Never heard or seen of this guy prior. KPW. All of a sudden, I was covering the whole scene, from Maine to Jersey.
yeah,
Haven't heard of anybody. This motherfucker comes out of the cemetery. Like I said, he didn't speak a word of English. He didn't, his wrestling was on point though, which was even more amazing because I was like I said, it's not somebody I've seen, but he was doing, some kind of acrobatic moves. I remember him like rolling and doing some kind of lucha moves, and just
yeah. I
crazy
was
was.
actually amazed at some of the jump points that he could do because he was a little rotund and shit, but he could move and shit. And I rarely saw the luchador style inside of him and shit. And people don't understand if they haven't seen the first Death Day. We're doing this. I'm guessing it's going to be in the same exact cemetery that they put us in last time. But yes, you heard that correctly. We were in a fucking cemetery,
Yes,
and
we were.
he's doing these acrobatic moves. Well, what could be construed to as acrobatic moves, but they're backyard acrobatic moves, and there's no ring bouncing them. This guy's bouncing up and doing sunset flips and roll arounds and tuck and rolls and shit, and there's nothing to bounce him off the
Well,
ground or nothing.
I'm gonna tell you why he can do that. I'm gonna tell you how he can do that. Because boys, I got some amazing news. Um, soon, not too soon, but about a year maybe after that whole death day, I finally got releasing other footage. And well, I got a strange kind of an email, and it was an email with this crumpled up kind of well, it was in Spanish. I didn't
Oh,
understand
jeez.
what the hell it was, but I have friends that speak Spanish. My mom speaks a little Spanish. And
Don't
with the
tell.
help
Wait a
of
minute. I think I know where you're going with this. They sent him one,
He
didn't they?
did. He got a letter too.
Son of
Um,
a
Are you
bitch!
serious? Oh
yes,
shit!
Rob, in Spanish, VP. They
in
sent him a
I
Spanish,
Spanish
and
letter.
I know, right?
loosely translated, it was
Oh,
like,
fuck.
"El Loco, you're pretty crazy, right?
Oh, this is the
You've been,
letter. I can't wait to hear this. Go ahead.
you've been crazy since birth. We know we were there.
Oh,
What?
shit.
Under the big top, you became a star,
The big. Ooh. He was a
but
carny.
after the fall, you were no more.
Oh.
From the dust, you seem to rise. Will you get crazy one more time?"
Ooh.
Okay.
So
Yeah,
like
I can see how.
what I'm guessing and what I can just kind of defer from this and I kind of like I said going back and forth and this is loosely translated. It's not 100% because of the way the paper was and the in the email and everything, but the Spanish, but basically what I'm getting at is this kid or this guy was born kind of in the carny life. He was born into the circus, the carny. He was under what we would call, maybe he was a worker's kid or a worker's nephew or something that kind of just got into the shows. And, he started working the circus, working the connie, and just grew up in it. And, he maybe rose to a high position. Maybe he got, main event of the, carnival when it came to town. Maybe he was the strongman. I don't know who he was or what he did, but obviously he's acrobatic. Maybe he was a top acrobat. So I don't know. But then something happened, some kind of injury, something where he was, kind of down, out, fell off the map, and then, they're pushing him back into that limelight. They
Oh
want to see him
shit,
again.
man.
But it
Fuck.
makes
If
kind of
my
sense now.
grandfather, old man Tucker, was fucking like
It,
around me and shit, because I don't know where he went to and shit. He every now and then he'll come around, but there's no such thing as his footage. You can't get footage like that back in those days.
no,
And
because there was no,
he
there
was a
was no,
straight carny wrestler and
yeah.
shit. He was a straight carny wrestler. That's how he taught me what I fucking know. And it was pretty much bare knuckle brawl and shit. He taught me how to fight that fucking way. He's like wrestling is wrestling, but I'm gonna teach you how to fight. So get in this backyard with me, and boom, that's how I taught. That's how he taught me.
Yeah,
And
because
next
I
thing
mean,
I
if you ever
know,
look at the,
HWF, and then everything else right there hit, and the the fact of that, you got me curious now. I'm wondering if my grandfather possibly met a relative of El Loco.
right, like maybe like I'm saying, he was a worker's kid. He kind of, learned the ropes. He got really good, being, that way. But, it's kind of weird because they said, we saw you born in, under the big toe. We were there, So again, were these people, are they in control? There's some kind of corporation that, own the circus.
These
What?
guys, yeah, they've been fucking watching us,
Or do
and
they go to,
they
do they, were they like,
pick out their favorites,
were
and
they
then
like those rich
they
people that
follow
go to
us like
this?
stalkers.
Yeah, like did they used to go to the circus going, "Hey, we want this guy," because that's where the wrestling was back in the day in the county. Um,
Yeah, no shit, right?
I don't know, but it was really weird seeing that because I always wondered, did he get a letter? Why was he there? What was his angle like? He just showed up. The rest of us had story. We never could find him. I never could get him on the show. I've seen him wrestle elsewhere afterwards, of course, because he started to make a name for himself. KBW kind of jump started him a little bit, but again, I wasn't able to get in contact with him. He doesn't speak English. I don't have a Spanish translator for my my show, so I could never really get his input on Death Day. Very strange. But this letter, coming to light makes it, makes more sense now. Now I see he was worked as well as the rest of us, into kind of being forced into this role of kind of coming back, prove yourself. But again, this isn't a choice. We're not asking you either. We're just telling you you're coming back. You're gonna prove yourself, and that's it.
Yeah, that's nuts right there. The guy
Um,
must have fucking felt like he had a gun to his head, and he probably didn't even fucking know what the hell he did.
Yeah,
No,
no
probably
shit, right?
not. He's coming here, but again, he was down with the clown. So
Yeah,
I,
once he found out that there was juggalos there, he thought he'd fit right in with us because we are the closest thing you can find to an actual carnival inside of a fucking wrestling
but
federation.
you gotta wonder if he used to wrestle, for the ICP promotion. It was back in the day. It was, did he rise to fame there? Was he another wrestler?
Oh, could be, could be. He could have went under many
Maybe,
aliases and shit.
not for nothing, but maybe El Loco wasn't his first run. Maybe that's, he's kind of ashamed of who he was and what had happened prior. So this is his new mask. We don't know anything about this guy. We just know, hey, he used to be a big star. He was born under the big top. Something happened.
Yep.
But I'm really more curious now, more than ever, about El Loco's kind of backstory. And just, again, obviously he knows what he's doing. He knows his way around. He wasn't just plucked off the street. I could tell that day. He wasn't just pulled from the cemetery. You're not a cemetery worker saying, "Hey, you're gonna fight now. Throw this on." He had moves. He did rolls. He did tucks and rolls. He did all sorts of things. But and he also knew how to ref, which that's another kind of skill to kind of keep in mind. Not many, you got to think about that. Not many luchadors referee. Most of them just wrestle, straight wrestle.
Yeah. The
He
refs
was,
are the refs
but
and the
he was
luchas are the
he was
luchas.
dual. He was dual.
Yep. He
He
was a
rocked the.
multitasker, I can tell you that. Yeah.
I mean, he was even rocking the zebra shirt. Why he was there wrestling.
Yeah. No matter what. If he was wrestling or not wrestling and shit, and he was reffing, he was in full reffing attire.
It'll be interesting to see though if he makes his way back to Death Day, or has he been eliminated as well? They didn't. The reason I'm asking because I don't know because they didn't send me a memo about mentioning his name.
It's funny though. The fact though that you got his letter, I'm amazed at that.
And I got it
Wow.
from an unknown source. It was a random email. It was like ZBZTV at something
Oh,
dot. It
geez,
was
they
in
gave it some
Spanish. It was
fucking random file name.
no, the file name was, legit. It said literally El Loco's death day letter, but the email was all kind of like a foreign like code. I don't know if it was from the deep dark web. I don't know who even sent it to me because when I went back to go and reply, I got an email saying that I can't send. Error sending.
Oh shit, that
That's
means that
weird.
that
That's
it was a
it was a
burner. It was a
phantom.
burner. They
Yeah, it
sent
was a
that through.
burner. Yep.
Yeah, like
Yep.
a
It was a
random
burner.
email. One of those just untraceable things. Just send out an email and then be done. So,
Yep.
Man,
um,
yeah, it's true. It truly was KPW and shit. They're back at it, brothers. They're back at
Yeah.
it for real.
I know. It's fucking weird, isn't it?
I can't sleep with my do not disturb thing on anymore. I've turned that off. So everybody, just so you know, yeah. If you do have my number, yeah, congratulations. I have no choice but to actually pick up the fucking phone if
Yep.
anybody calls me at fucking 3:30 in the morning out of nowhere. Now, KPW is great for this and shit. They're a mystery clan, brother. They're a mystery clan. Anybody who's going to work in the future, you get those little Shang Tsung letters. You best start packing your shit and preparing for the day you hear the fucking meat wagon pull outside your house.
it's funny.
Yeah, I know, right?
I haven't even unpacked my shit from the last time. I figured they'd be coming right back. But it's just really kind of it was shocking at first. I'll be honest with you when I seen things being brought up again about KPW because it was teased. I knew they weren't a dead or a deal. I knew the founding fathers didn't give up. They didn't concede. They weren't running away. They didn't disappear. They didn't get arrested. They didn't get stopped. Um, but I also didn't know what they were waiting for. I still don't know what they were waiting for. I mean, that's the big mystery. What's the wait? What's the hype? What's the angle? Why now? Why not last year? Why not 3 months, after. Why not after Rage in the Cage? Why not after the other events that we, kind of had after that? Because things got a little wonky with the events. But, they did happen. After Death Day, we got into Rage in the Cage. And, that was a
Yes,
wild
we
event.
did.
That
Yeah.
was a wild
Yeah.
event because it brought in all sorts of people, and it brought in all sorts of styles, but it wasn't your traditional kind of, fight or die kind of mode.
Yep.
No, it was I could definitely tell it was definitely um the KPW founding fathers first ever live show. I could tell that all of this has been a shitload of pit fights and Mortal Kombat Kumite situations and shit until Rage in the Cage happened. They knew that they could set up a venue at a spot. They had a spot picked. It got it confirmed, and they saw the freaking, the size of the cage and the MMA and the knowing that we might get a little over 100, who knows? And boom, Rage in the Cage happened, and I think the venue
And
almost broke a record almost for people who went in there.
it was one hell of an event, especially bagging coming right up against, like I said, Death Day. You had Death Day, which was, really fun. Well, not so much fun for you.
Oh no.
Um, because
Well,
Yeah.
it was
after everything it was said and done, Rob thought it was in his best interest to kind of turn his back on you. And it's old news. It's under the water, under the bridge, whatever the
yeah,
fuck that term is. We don't talk really too much about it. Again, it was during that fight with one of the guys. The other guy ended up taking that title that day because of Rob's actions.
yeah,
And you had tremendous beef over this shit. And with rightfully due, because you were just straight up, I was there, I watched it, that was the thing about that day. You had, Rob fighting, El Loco. They made me fight a former employee who ended up,
yeah,
he was trying to make it as a zebra. He ended up fighting another kid after me for a head zebra position. And
yeah.
I think the other guy ended him. I don't even know. I just seen him holding up, the zebra shirt going, I did it. I'm out, bitches.
Oh
And,
yeah, yeah.
and now
That-
now
When I
he's our
heard that,
JWO zebra.
when I heard that, that pissed me the fuck off and shit. I mean, I saw that obviously both of them fucking wanted it, and yeah, I will admit that the guy who got it, Mikey and shit, who won the senior referee Mikey and shit. Um, he won that the best way that he could and shit, if you can call that winning. Yeah. Anyway,
But
not
yeah, I
gonna
mean,
get
they
into
had
too
me
much
fight
there.
they had me
It
fight
was
the
like watching two apes fight, but
yeah.
still, anyway.
I mean,
After,
even I was
after all
bad.
was
They
said and
had
done,
me.
he raises his arms and he's holding that fucking zebra pelt up, and he's like, I'm it. I'm the new ref, and bitches, I'm out." That like, I saw that and I was like, "Well, son of a bitch." Talk
Yeah,
about
and and
being
then
green, a rookie, and being cocky. This is a rookie given a senior position right here,
but
and
what
we're
was
gonna see just how this freaking goes down. I can tell you that much.
but what's crazier is, like I said, come Death Day, he was supposed to give a rematch, and he didn't show up.
Yeah,
So they grabbed me to fight the other kid. So I had to
yeah,
fight the other kid. Now I ended up, just doing what I had to do, and it's fine. I wasn't supposed to be on the card, but I was called there. I was supposed to be originally just there to film. They wanted me to film. That's what the letter said.
yeah.
Then all of a
In
sudden,
this business, we have a little terminology that says "shit happens."
exactly. And I don't give a fuck. We've had a fight more than once, and um these people just didn't give a fuck, so I had to go out and be an animal, and they wanted to see Psycho, and that's exactly what I did. And I don't hesitate when I'm in the ring or in the cage or in the fucking gully field cemetery, where the fuck we're fighting. I don't really care. It's a fight, man. It's not a ballet dance. It's not supposed to be graceful. It's supposed to be, there's gonna be somebody surviving this and maybe somebody not. This is a fight to the finish. the whole 9 yards. It's not about, going out there and, oh, let me bow first and let me look good doing this and let me sound good, after I, make sure this is all. No, I'm going out there, I'm doing the job, and then, if it looks good, it looks good. If it don't look good, it don't look good. But guess what? The W is coming home with me, and that's what it's about for me. The W, taking that win, taking that victory, living to fight another day, and that's
Oh
what
yeah,
Yep.
KPW was
gangster
about.
mentality right there.
That's what KPW is about. People think it's just some kind of promotion that we just go out and play it in the fucking fields. No, it's not like that. They drag us out there at gunpoint. They threaten our families. They threaten our kids, our children, our children's children, our fucking
Yeah,
future children's children.
these
They
guys got
don't
some
give a
warped
flying fuck.
mentalities and shit. And honestly, if you want my honest opinion, and this is just from my first ever sighting of the founding fathers, because you remember this Versace, especially you too, VP. You were just as surprised as Versace was. But I had snapped a picture and posted that picture of the founding fathers. Now, when I first saw those guys, I was sort of taken aback because I noticed one thing. Though, if those are the founding fathers, then those are the founding fathers that are on there right now. Because if they've been around this earth plenty of times, like if my daughter's note that they passed my daughter is correct, then they've been around even to know about her being passed to Elizabeth Bathory. So if they know about that, then
And we're gonna get
they
into
might
all
have
that
gone back
too,
all the way through there. But
because I mean, there's more
these
history.
guys that are now the founding fathers, if you want my honest opinion to them, I think they're a bunch of fucking rich college kids living off of the legends of their fathers before them. And I think honestly that this thing was started by their fathers in the same tradition, except they probably brought it to like this X game ECW, GCW level. And now that's what their mentality runs off of. Because the corporation that I freaking went into and shit, it was, back nine and everything and shit and looked a little shifty, but the shift that was in the shit that was in there, motherfucker, that shit cost money. And the shit that I saw that was being done was unconventional. Just like I said, almost businessmen walking around with fucking guns, looking like Michael Douglas from Walking, falling down and shit, and just going in there and seeing live ammunition shot at the fucking ground to, keep their employees, on their toes, new recruits and everything like that. I was like, this is fucking insane. And then to hear some of the rumors of shit that they might be hiding underground from their establishment and everything, if that's true, then all I'm going to say is KPW might be hiding a monster. And if that's true, then that's a whole nother rabbit hole to delve into at a different day. But as far as anything else goes, yeah, this fucking company is insane, and I wouldn't hold it back to them and shit. But honestly, I think right now that this company is being run by a bunch of just rich college kids living off of what the old KPW founding fathers were before them, and it's gone down the line. It feels like this thing might almost be a sideline to a Skulls gang. Remember that movie, The Skulls?
Yep, yep.
Sort of like that. I don't know though. You just can't put an honest finger on the situation because once you think you know the situation, they pull the rug out.
Yep.
And that's the whole thing, and KPW, like I said, it ran its course. We had the death day, we had those matches, you know, and then they bring us back to Rage in the cage. And that was, like you said, that feel of the live environment, the limelight, there was fans out there, people cheering for everybody. Interesting card. They asked me to host the event, which I didn't mind. I don't mind doing that, obviously. I like to speak, I like to talk, I like to run the podcast, I like to interview, I like to, welcome everybody. That's your boy, I love that kind of shit.
You did an awesome job too, brother. By the way,
I
you
went
did.
out there, and right off the bat though, they sent out Ray Ranson to, fuck up my night. He fucked me up good. He comes out and he just starts beating the piss out of me with his chicken, his cock,
Yeah,
his cock. I'll say it. I'll say it. He
there
beat the
was a
piss
thing
out of me with
though.
his cock.
There was a
Um,
thing though about that. The reason why too, I took so long to get out there. I promised you too that I would watch your back, and I wasn't fucking boasting about that shit either. We had an interview. I think it was a few weeks prior to that event, and I told you don't have to worry about shit. I got your back, and you're like, yeah, I know you got my back, no problem. And I'm in the background while that's happening, mind you. I'm outside and I'm having a cigarette outside because at the time I was a big cigarette smoker. I'm having a cigarette right after I finish a fucking bowl pack, and I hear the crowd get up and everything. I'm like, all right, somebody must have done something fucking spectacular over there or some shit. And out of nowhere, I hear the back doors burst open. So of course that shakes me up and shit. I take a surprising puff out my fucking cigarette and I puff out and shit. And I look over and there's this motherfucker comes out of nowhere and goes, dude, Versace's getting his fucking ass whooped. I go, what? I freaking threw the fucking goddamn cigarette down. I rushed inside there, and that was the first fucking thing I saw. Was I came out of the fucking curtains and I saw Ray inside there with you, and I'm walking in slowly at first, and then I'm like, hey, wait a minute, yeah, that's definitely him getting his ass whooped. I walked inside there and shit, and Ray's chicken's in front of me. I kicked the motherfucking thing out of the way and shit, and the chicken wound up somewhere in between you and him. And I remember I took the bitch and I wrapped it right around his fucking throat like Sandman with his fucking kendo stick and shit. And I brought him back and shit and pushed him up against the other side of the fucking fence on the cage in area. And I'm like, what, motherfucker? What? You dare touch my boy? Oh shit! The fact that no one said shit to me, and I had to wait for one single person that was on my side that night to come bursting out the door looking for
well,
my
see, that's the
ass.
thing. See, that's the fucking thing at this point in time that people didn't realize. See, Rob fucking betrayed you, and I saw that firsthand. When I was filming, I saw the betrayal. I saw the hurt, the pain in your eyes. You were inches from gold and it just ripped out of your fucking hands. And we all know your story about gold and the last time you held it, and they did too. And just to have that happen and Rob to be there with that shit eating grin going, yeah, I fucking told you so. Ha ha ha.
Yeah, yeah.
So, I felt bad. So I aligned with you right away in KPW. I said, you know what? Fuck it. TJ's my boy. He's a juggalo. I love this shit. Fuck that shit Rob did. He's pretending to be his boy, but yet he fucking turns his back on him. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah,
That's when Rob was a prick.
well, it
I
turns
admit it.
out, bro.
I was a prick.
It turns out, bro, it wasn't just that, man. I know that they were in your ear telling you shit and promising you the entire world.
Of
Yeah, they
course,
were.
everybody
They
was
were. They had
promised
promised me a
everything,
lot.
man. So, come that day, we had very few allies going into this thing. Me and you were kind of against the world. I knew you were fighting, finally after the card was released. And this card kept going, might I add. It was changed multiple times. They really fucked with my head, the founding
Oh
fathers.
yeah.
They kept telling me this one's facing this one. You're fighting him. You're fighting her. This one's fighting that one. And all of a sudden, it'll be changed again. Every day, new changes. I didn't know the exact who the fuck was gonna be there till I was there, and that was crazy. It was crazy times, and like I said, it opened up with that. I was surprised to see Ray. I knew very little about Ray at the time. I had seen him, wrestling in reunion wrestling. He was doing great over there, really kicking ass, looking great. He had the Bitter Club. And he was just kind of I saw him at that show that I was invited to where I kind of met you. I met the other guy that was in KPW. I met a bunch of guys from reunion wrestling. Just kind of some of them we crossed paths again in KPW and other promotions. But they were all there that day, and that's kind of like I
There's
said, I
something told
really
me
saw
too when
you.
I saw you in that freaking audience that day, holding up my fucking shirt, and I gave you a pound. I'm like, I like this guy. Something clicked in my head. I'm like, I don't know what the fuck it is, but I'm never gonna forget his face. Next thing
Yeah.
I know, I got an invite from you to do cruising for a bruise, and then I'm like, all right, I got a feeling I actually know this guy because he says that he met me before, but I'm like, why am I not remembering? And then I'm like, wait a minute, that's him. because I check out your podcast one time and I saw your face and I was
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
shit, that's the motherfucker I gave the handshake to and shit.
yeah.
Hardly anybody
You
gets a
did more than
pound
that.
from me and shit, but
You actually signed my shirt, which was pretty sweet. You
yeah,
know, and I love that kind of shit. But you know, and yeah, you know, I did invite you, and we drove out to the river to interview you, and that was a great interview. And I interviewed a few of the guys, but you know, that kind of jumped it off. Now want to fast forward things a little bit. You know, me and Ray are cool now, but at that point, I was really heated at that, and like I said, I was just jumped. I didn't know what was going on. So then, the next thing I know, the first match about to begin. You got Dino the Angel there. You got the Sheik, and then Ray. Ray was fighting in that.
yeah. There's a triple threat match. One hell of a way to can open your event with a triple threat match. But I was like, yeah, that's nice though.
It is
Fucking
nice.
Yeah,
triple
it was
threat
a
I
match
great
with
thought
a
match
can
too.
opener. Hell yeah.
I don't even remember who won it actually, but might have been Sheik.
I think it was Sheik.
Yeah,
Might have been.
it was Sheiky and his manager Tiny the
Well,
Terrible,
that's right. He had
uh,
Tiny with him, and
Angel the Icon,
which was
and
really,
Ray and the Loose Cannon Ray Ransom.
which was crazy because it wasn't too much. It wasn't too long after I think they aired that Dark Side episode, about the mass transit incident. So you had Tiny, kind people knew who Tiny was from TV.
Yep, yep.
So because he was in that for a minute. Um, but that was a wild way to open up. Then you had two great female talent going at it, Corinne Mink and Big Juicy.
Big Juicy,
Oh
yeah.
yeah, that was a great match too. The girls
Awesome
fucking
match.
killed each other. That was
Those
great.
girls gave everything that they fucking had to one another.
And
Yeah,
they
they
gave
did.
no fucks. They were going up against everything. The rough crowd, a rough fucking arena, rough freaking a cage. It's a cage. It wasn't meant for what you're doing.
Yep,
It was brutal, but they gave it
yep.
their all. And Big Juicy took home that.
Mink wound up getting in a bunch of guys' faces and shit, and they were all for Juice and shit, and Juicy was just feeding off the fucking crowd. They finally got to a few serious points where they actually met each other in the middle of the ring. We're like, you want to go? You want to go? You want to go? So you got to see, full legit Hoss from Corinne Mink, and you got to see Big Juicy come out of her. I'm going to impress you because you're my fans and I love you too. Okay, you want to go type of thing,
And it was great to see these the two great talents out of their elements. You see them in other promotions, you've seen them all over the place, but out of their element, they were something else. And to be honest with you, I believe that was probably the match of the night. Granted, you guys gave one hell of a match though, fighting. Out of the red
Oh,
corner, TJ Tucker, and out of the blue is Rob Robertson. It was a death match to remember. We had glass, we had chairs, weapons, blood, fucking sweat and tears. It was wild. And then the ending, it was even crazier. But we got to see another fucking mysterious motherfucker coming out, Twinkle Toes. This other fucking clown
Yeah,
yeah.
pulling up.
yeah. What the?
You see, the thing was, and I'm going to give everybody the insider's touch on this. I'm not bringing back no curtains or anything like that and shit. I'm just going to tell it like everybody saw it and shit. The truth right now. Rob knows what I'm talking about because he was in the match right there. Versace, you had a megaphone and you were staring at us from the back line. I could see you all the way next to the break door, but still, you were staring in amazement and shit, and this guy comes out of nowhere, Twinkle Toes and shit, and I'm looking as this clown enters the freaking arena, and I'm like, holy shit! I've heard about this guy in Legend, but he's okay. He's for real, and this is also the guy I remember on the playlist. He's been sending these fucking clown messages, these weird clown messages. At first, I thought it was all pics, and no, some of it was pickles, but most of it was all for him.
See,
And
that was the whole thing
and
that really
he
fucked me up.
he came in and he actually heard the conversation that me and Rob were having and shit. Me and Rob the match was over, and He was hurting. I was hurting. We're just broken down and bruised and everything. He's bleeding. He's got my fucking Watuppa rat poison, green mist all over his face. I got blood coming out my mouth and green mist coming out the other half and shit. And we're just broken down, busted up and twisted. And I'm looking at him and I'm going, look, man, I got to give you respect where respect is due. And that's where I give my respect right there. When everyone else was treating you badly and shit, who else were they treating badly too? Who else were they saying and shit that couldn't be done and couldn't be done? And you're a freak, you're a misfit, you don't belong. Who else did they do it? And both me and you both looked at each other as I pointed to myself and was like, me, right, exactly. Yep. So you know, but I just did this so you could clear your head a little bit. This is not through yet. I whispered in his ear, it's not through yet, brother. And what's about to happen to you, you're not going to see why I'm doing it, but this is for your own good. And I tucked him in closely. I gave him a hug and I said, remember, before you go out and you knock out tonight, I love you, brother.
Yep.
We disconnected and he sort of looked at me a little twisted, like confused. And I said, trust me. Boom! Kicked him in the midsection, gave him a rat trap. He's laid out. I said, now, pay attention, motherfucker. I turned around and I said, this is my daughter, Tabby. Tabby had one part of the gift for him, and that was just her kiss. She kissed him right on the cheek, and I know it burnt the motherfucker's cheek bone and shit, but he turned around, took it like a fucking man, and right after all that shit was done, Twinkle Toes eventually, he didn't like what I did and how I did it and shit, but motherfuckers got to learn how to live. So that's the way that I want it done. So I told him, just bring him back and I'll go meet you guys later. He somehow freaking just picked you up and shit, and dragged you out of the ring and shit. And I followed not so close behind and shit, but I went right there and shit. And took a look at everybody that had came that night and shit. And between having a smile on my face and being how proud I was that the event went through somehow, some way, we made it all out and everything and shit. And now the biggest thing that that was on my mind and shit was, okay, now it's okay. Fuck you to not the fans. That fuck you at the end before I walked out that night was to KPW's whole freaking agenda. And that was me saying, I got your boy now. And now I'm going to alleviate him for everything that you tried to dull out from his senses. So I told Twinkle Toes, get him in our fucking van. Put him in a fucking clown car. We fucking brought him all the way back to Hall 6's Carnival Campgrounds. And I said, we're going to give him a couple of things to knock him out for at least one more night. And we did. And he sort of was, groggy the next day and shit. And so I said, we got to get this shit done because I'm not hosting my boy here anymore like this and shit. I'm not into that freaking Hannibal Lecter, Mad Doctor phase, hostile shit. Yeah, so exactly. So I'm like, okay. I tell one of my homies, get your fucking camera and we're gonna record this. And that's why I recorded the aftermath after KPW calls it KPW and Answer, which was a thing right after Rage in the Cage. And I'd given Tabitha to one of my homeboys to watch for me that day. And I brought the other guy behind the camera and shit with me. And I even asked him, like, you take care of Tabitha for me. Yep. Okay. Here we go. So they follow me in. We go down the hall and shit. It's just spray painted. The shit smells like soot. I mean, soot from like 5 generations of fireplaces. Old ass shit. Some places in that Carnival Campgrounds is like out there. But that's where I took him. Because I didn't want him just like normal. I didn't want anybody to know where the hell they were. And I had one last thing that I made, which was a little bit of the Watuppa rat poison, but I had mixed in a little mixture of my own and Tabitha's mixture. And told them, okay, cut the camera now. They cut the camera. We walk inside the freaking hall and then inside the room. and I'm talking to Rob and shit, and I see that he's still grogging out a little bit, but I'm like, all right, this is gonna wake you up, my friend. I'm popping the tops. I said, now drink that down. Don't drink that down. Drink it, you know. And he's squirming. I can imagine how that fucking shit tasted because I
Oh
know
my
just
god, it tasted like crap, bro.
I
Trust me, it tasted like
I can
crap.
imagine. I know how to a cup of rat poison taste in my mouth before I spit it to somebody's eyes. So trust me, I know what you're going through in a way. But that other shit that I mixed in there make you see a little bit more clear and wake you up even more. I wouldn't want to taste that shit. So I could just imagine how it was going down your throat. So after that shit was all swallowed and done and shit, he spit out his mouth so good and wiped it off and shit. I'd tell him, you know, don't mind about the green shit pouring out. And he wiped it good, so good you can't even see that anything was put in his mouth. Wiped it out that fucking good. And he looks at me, he's like, now, I go, ding ding, wake up. He looks at me, I'm like, you recognize who I am? TJ? Like, yeah. Wake up. You know, I bring him up to his feet and shit, and he's like, shit. He doesn't say that to me, but I can see the newness in his eyes. But yet I see that old soul in there now. That new whatever they promised them has been lifted, gone. Whatever they did or said to him or promised them and shit, that idea was completely thrown out of his head. And he just recognized me for who I was. And I told him straight up, I'm like, okay, from now on, we're gonna get this shit fucking straight. And and he's like, absolutely, absolutely. I shook his hand, I hugged him, I said, welcome to the JWO. And we turned and walked out that fucking room. Took one look at the cameraman. I'm like, yo, cut the feed. Boom. After that, it was all said and done, and shit has coasted into what it's coasted into. We've gone through a few feds, and now here we are, KPW Death Day 2, and be honest, I can't fucking wait. It's not
Yeah,
just
me neither, bro.
it's not just for the fact that I know I'm fighting and I know it's a KPW event and I love the federation, but the fact that they went and took it the way that they did by mailing out a letter to my motherfucking daughter, motherfucker,
Well, that's what I'm saying. Now they've brought in
she was
Tabitha.
already here in KPW Rage in the Cage. She was having a blast. And the second that I got to look in a child's eyes and pass them that letter and say, and when I passed it to her, she saw it on her phone and shit. And she read what I wrote on there. If you go back to the one post where, you know, I posted her letter and shit for her, you
Yeah.
can see what I wrote on the post and shit. And at the very end of it, I said, I'm sorry for dragging you into this, baby. Daddy's a fuck up. And I was crying when I was freaking writing that damn thing down and shit. And right after she saw that, she wrote what she wrote down in the comments and then posted that. And then after I saw the post, I had just gotten finished putting the care button on that shit. And right after I posted that I cared about that comment that she put down after she wrote in her comment, she comes into, you know, the tent and shit, and she's like, yeah, don't ever say that, daddy. Don't ever say that. Put yourself down that way, you know. And if it wasn't for her, shit would have ended in my career a long ass fucking time ago, because between KPW and XUC's bullshit, everything underneath the bridge for that, it got really fucking hard. And I thought a bunch of times about just leaving my goddamn boots in the ring, you know? But she was right there. And if it wasn't for her and a bunch of my JWO members and hierarchies at the time, you included Versace, and of course you too, VP, I wouldn't have, you know, decided to do Death Day 2 and come back anymore for that instant and that matter. But I'm still here, and like I said a long time ago, I'm still here, I'm clear, and I ain't going any motherfucking where.
Well, I mean, that's great to hear. Like I said, and they've also brought in, Kevin Chase, one of the prospects you were talking about earlier that has become a killer. They
Yes, he
brought him
has.
into it too.
Yep. Yep. A lot of people would say, what do you mean by killer and everything? Well, this is where some of the biker gang, I guess, mentality would, because people have noticed that it almost seems like it's a biker gang. I go, yeah, I could see where you get that mentality, but it's not like that and shit. I lean more towards like the Joker anti-purge gang almost, you know? But we're a cause and a belief system and shit. You got to believe in the cause to get into the system. And then you can pass in your prospect papers to JWO and we'll consider them. And then if you're considered worthy, you become a prospect. You work your way up. The next thing you know, you start to get other patches up and shit. And this is where Kevin Chase comes in and shit. Because he comes up and I'm like, okay, well, it's official. You're definitely part of it and shit. But I don't feel comfortable just by slapping a normal JWO patch on you without some sort of an authority figure. I can't give you general because Pix is taking that over, and Pix is fucking awesome. I wouldn't give Pix up for anything. He's like, I'm not looking for Pix's job. I said, what I love about you two is you're fucking loyal. So I said, you know what? I would normally rank you as sergeant, but I don't feel sergeant would suit that terminology. So I'm like, I believe not sergeant at arms. How about killer? He goes, that sounds perfect. So I made out the patches officially and shit and everything. And if you get onto Kevin Chase's level in his patch of RJWO, then yeah, you will be enlisted as a killer as well. So on your cut, it will have a killer patch. The thing is, though, is he will have a patch above yours that will always be above the fact that his says killer. But above him is going to be another patch that says original or original killer. Above that, on that patch right there, that means that if I walk up to him and say, "Yo, killer," go mess up that motherfucker for me just because I don't like his face. Now, Chase automatically has to take a look at me and say, yes, sir, no problem. Yes, Prez, walk over there. Boom, boom. Get that shit done. Come back to me. Is this what you wanted? Yep. Okay, all done. Now, he no longer has that position, actually. Gave him quite the authority in this position because I fucking love him. With the original killer patch above the killer patch, if I walk up to him, just him in particular, and say, yo, killer, go do this and that for me because I don't like this or that. He has the authority to look at the next killer on the side of him and say, yeah, I'm not doing that shit, go. And that killer on the side of them has no choice but to do it. And mind you, because he's the original killer, he's the only killer that has the annunciation to give you an order. All the other killers have to fall in line. That's basically him being a sergeant of his forces. Just like Nix is our lieutenant of all of us right there. That little brother right there has gone through lengths that I could only ask of myself to go through. I would choose him as a VP in position, but Rob's my original and I stick with my fucking brothers and shit. So I couldn't think of anything best for him than lieutenant. And not just because of that, and not just because of that in particular, and just the way that he is. It's the fact that he was the one on the side of me every single day when the viral asylum took Tabitha away from me. At first, it
Yes,
was
he
all
was.
supposed to be part of the
Yes, he was.
story. At first, it was all supposed to be part of the killer story and everything and shit until I noticed that she really wasn't there. So that got me out of the character. I started saying, no, fuck that shit. You want to keep that whole thing going. Try to keep going with that and shit, but I'm not posting any more shit about me being outside killing this person or that person. That whole thing's getting shut down right now. You're fucking with my goddamn family. Give me back my fucking daughter. I turned into Mel Gibson and Ransom. I was pissed. And I was like, this is so fucking cliche. I can't believe this is happening to me. And then shit started running in my head of like fucking Sons of Anarchy. I'm like, this is like Jax losing Abel in the fucking what first or second season.
When
I'm like, this
yeah, the
is
second season when the
yeah,
Irish took kidnapped him
yeah.
and shit.
I'm like this. I'm like, this is fucked up. And I thought it was a joke at first. I'm like, ha ha. Okay, who's gonna? Everybody looks at me. Yo, man, they skedaddled. I'm like, what? Yeah, seriously, they left and they brought Tabitha with them. I said, what? I remember I chased out and shit. And this is when I knew that I could trust Nix. Because I was screaming, Tabby, 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 where is she? Daddy's looking for you, Tabby. And I see him and he's looking like a little concerned and worried. And it really, I remember drawing back for a second going, why does he look concerned? And then I remember my mind floated back and I said, Tabby, still going back and shit, screaming like a fucking mother. And I burst out through the fucking doors and I'm looking all over the place for her and she's not there. And I see these tire tracks in out, leading out of the building's quarry. And I'm looking and I just I dropped to my knees and shit, and I'm like, oh my god, they fucking took her. They fucking took her, and I'm almost sobbing and shit. And I just I'm hitting the ground, and tears are falling down on the fucking dirt and shit. I get up off my fucking knees, and I turn around, and I'm like, yeah! I turn around, there's Nix, and he's standing, and he's looking at me, and he said, what just happened? I said, they fucking took her. They took her. They fucking took her. Took who? Who? I said, they fucking took Tabitha. And fucking shit, what the fuck do you care anyway, motherfucker? Get away from me. And I fucking flew into the back into the venue. And what I didn't know is at the time, behind my fucking back and shit, Tabby had a crush on Nix the entire fucking time.
Oh wow.
I mean, I saw it. I saw signs of it. I wasn't exactly the dumb father, but I also put my what fathers and rookie lovers would call the love blinders on. You put
Yep.
certain glasses on, and they make you not see what you're supposed to see in ways. Tunnel vision. So I put that off to the side, going, yeah, right, whatever. The one thing I did take into my heart was the fact that, that one post when Tabby brought out and said that, yes, she has a crush. I was like, oh, no. The minute when I heard that, I'm like, what?
What?
You got a crush on somebody? And she looks at me, and she tucks her head back into her chair and everything. I'm like, no, come on, look at me. You got a crush on somebody? She looks up and yes. I go, who is it? She goes, I'm not going to tell you that. I said, oh no. In my head, I'm going, oh no. Here it comes. Here it comes. Now I start having flashbacks of like all the father shit I've seen on TV. People going through with their children and shit. I'm going, oh no, now it's happening to me. No. So I'm thinking, and I'm like, here come the dumbass questions that she's going to fight to answer until I know who the motherfucker is already. And it's already too late to discover, whether I like him or not. I got to shake this motherfucker's hand. That's all I'm thinking of, But it didn't put two and two together and shit. I look at it in retrospect now and I go, yeah, I should have noticed back then that it was him. But Tabby had developed a thing for Nix. And they're still an item.
Well,
So when I
I
did,
mean, there's
so when I
worse people. Nick, there's nothing wrong with Nick. I like Nick a lot. So I mean, it could be worse. Somebody that you thought it could be dating. Like I said, I really don't know. Looking back, looking forward, I really don't know what to expect here on Death Day 2. I mean, I haven't been told anything about the card. Nothing.
No, no one has. No
No
one
one has,
has.
brother. No one has. Nobody has. I'm curious to know if they officially even gave Nix his letter. I don't know. I
I
honestly
don't
don't know.
know.
But
I
that's the
haven't
reason.
seen
But
anything.
still, before I get off on that, that's the reason why I gave him the lieutenant patch on top of that. Because after she was kidnapped, he was the one who really stepped up and was right there on the side of me each and every day, along with Rob and shit. And you gave me support every which way you could. But Rob and him were on the side of me all the time, looking
Well,
for her all
well,
the
you gotta
fucking
be.
time and shit. And when we found her, it just went perfect that fucking night.
Well, you gotta remember, boys. At the time, because of that whole, after the death day, I saw some shit. You know, like I said, I seen. I'll go back. I'm gonna backtrack a little bit. When we were at that rage in the cage, I was sitting on those sidelines. I was rooting for you, TJ to go. But I heard rumors. I heard the whispers of Mr. Pickles. I saw him in Showcase. He was making a name for himself at the time. He was holding gold, I believe. Um, so I heard the whispers that he might show up. I seen the clown. I said, "Oh, that must be Pickles," but then it wasn't. So then I was really fucking confused. I didn't know if fucking somebody was duping me, if they sent me a cheap imitation clown. What the fuck were they sending me? Who was this? What was this? And I got fans out there that were screaming KPW. Now I know it's not my promotion. I get that. I was just given the role as as the person that hosted. I'm hosting the show like they host. That's all we do is we just get roles in KPW. You're a fighter. You're a host. You're a fucking film man. You're a cameraman. You're gonna do audio. Da da da. We're
Yeah.
just dictated orders. Nobody gets to really pick and choose what we want to do. We're not sitting going, well, he makes a good, fucking. No, it's nothing like that. So, but I take the shit to heart, obviously, like any other job. So, I was very confused with what the fuck was going on. Then I seen you, fucking bashing him down. And I was happy for that. I still though was kind of upset though because I wanted some retribution against Ray. Ray really hurt me that night. I was still in pain. Almost the whole night was kind of ruined because of that. He
Oh,
beat me
I
pretty
wanted
good.
retribution for you too, brother.
But that
Eventually,
death
maybe
match
one day we
left
will get it. Who knows?
you pretty much dead. You guys killed each other. So I saw that. Then, I saw the little bit where you kind of turned, and you were like, we're going to bring you in. We're going to, and this formation of the JWO. And, I was kind of felt a little betrayed. I'm like, what the fuck? This dude just fucked us over. He fucking almost killed you. What the hell is going on? And then I see you get your gold, and now you're high and mighty, and now you're fucking this, and now people are calling you, at this point, people were starting to put respect on your name, which is fine. You deserve the respect, but a little bit, honestly, you were kind of showboating around a little bit in KPW a little bit, and
Oh,
then all of a
yes, I
sudden,
was.
the JWO kind of forms officially, and I'm honestly left out in the dust. Where the fuck is Versace? What's going on with Versace? And I get picked up by some other team, and they're like, this time to, get in my ear about shit. So at this point now, you guys weren't really on my, friend list. Me and you, I mean, actually, I fought both of you. I fought you once, TJ. I fought you once, Rob.
Yes, you
We
did.
had our
Yeah.
battles. Um, so when you lost Tabitha, I felt bad because I'm a parent too, and no parent should have to go through losing their child getting kidnapped. Nobody should. That's fucking sick, twisted shit. But at the same time, I was also like, fuck you, TJ. You're not my fucking friend. Fuck you. Fuck you, Rob. Fuck you, JWO. Fuck you, you
Yeah.
Juggalo World Order. I don't give a shit, you want to throw me aside, fine, but remember who saved your ass in KPW. Remember who pulled you out the meat pits and the meat grinders and all the shit that we had to go through, and who actually got you that fucking, you know, into the title candidate, because they were asking me questions, who do you think is any good? They kept asking me little questionnaires and sending me shit. And I would always put TJ up because you know what? TJ did deserve the title at the time. He still deserves it today. Um, if we
Thank
had to
you,
do
brother.
things all over, you know what I'm saying? You would still be a candidate for that title. It just fit around you. I mean, but
Well, it's still nice to know that even having the title, every now and then you still look at the same title that's around you and say, "Am I a worthy champion?" Because you don't really get to see the defense going off and shit.
well,
Well,
that's the thing with this one here.
on this real first KPW defense for that title, it's gonna be a fucking spectacle and shit. I don't care how fucking long it lasts and shit, but man,
Because that's the
it's
thing. That's the thing. You haven't been able to actually, you know, prove yourself as a champion.
yep,
You've been able to do it through words, and you got, an army, a grand army. You've even enlisted myself. I'm the keeper. We got keepers. I keep good records. I keep, records of our missions, what we're doing, where we're going, promotions, titles we got,
yep. All the
title
chapels that
matches.
we've had and shit,
Who are we working with?
chapels
Where are we
are
going
meetings
next?
for those of you who are not exactly code languagers right there,
I
but
keep
we
our,
have meets
I
and
keep, and I try
gavels are
to keep.
swung and everything. And instead of naming him as a secretary, which is supposed to be the direct patch, I patched Versace and JWO as our keeper rather than secretary. Because
Well, I'll
keeper to
tell you.
me sounds way better than a secretary job.
Well, I'll
Yeah,
tell
I
you
know,
right
right?
now. I am a keeper because I have all these tales from the fucking crypt. I'm like the crypt keeper
And
over
I was
here.
like, even Booker sounds good, but I'm like, no, no, no. I don't want him to be affiliated with the Pencil Man.
No,
Nope.
no, and I was honored when you guys asked me to take that position. So it was perfect. It was the kind of position I was looking for. After my battling with both of you in ring, it showed me, I can still fight if I have to, and I will in KPW. Don't get me wrong, but my talent, my what I can do, what I can bring for the JWO is much more stronger outside the ring.
Yeah, it
What I can
is.
do through
Yeah, it
social
is.
media, what I can
Hell
do
yeah.
through, just strategy and strategizing. I'm a chess player when a lot of these motherfuckers are playing checkers, and that's the difference here. And we're gonna be on our A game with KPW. Believe me, I'm not gonna let the founding fathers trick us or try to split us apart because they're going to play mind games. They see us now as a threat because we're together, we're a group.
You know what? It's funny that you just mentioned mind games right now, Versace, because I haven't done the artwork myself, but I am working on a little thing, little piece of artwork myself and shit. And that day's right around the corner. I got a funny feeling that it's going to be soon. I don't know when, but it's going to be soon. But
Uh-huh.
this piece of artwork, I'm gonna maybe finish up maybe tonight if I get bored, and I'll post it out. But
Oh shit.
how you said that KPW got that new page and they got the new call letters and everything looks all professional and
Oh yeah.
shit. Well, I got the call letter logo right in front of me right now, and this doesn't look too right to me right now. And VP, you know what I mean. This doesn't
Yeah, I do.
this doesn't look too right to me right now. It's a KPW red lettering and shit. You got a nice logo, guys. I will agree with you right now as I look on this shit on my tablet right now. This is beautiful. Oh, it's pretty. I mean, no, I gotta look at it like Eddie Murphy. This is pretty. This is pretty.
Purdy.
Now,
It's a
what
party.
what could I possibly do right now that could piss you the fuck off right now?
Here we go.
Oh, this logo looks so fucking pretty. You know what? I think I'm just gonna pull my little Death Note way to you right now. Let's see. Take this Style X right here and some white ink.
Oh,
And scratching
here we go.
right
Here we
there.
go.
Oh man, that's almost orgasmic as I'm doing this right now. Let's see.
Oh Jesus!
Yeah, no, not dot the I. There's no I in JWO. There's only a J. So what we're gonna do with that? We're gonna cross that J right there. I'm gonna cross that J, and oh, it's such a perfect red W right here in KPW's call letters. Ain't that a beautiful, beautiful red letter right there? Oh, that's so fucking beautiful. It's just, oh, look at that nice little line here. And
There we
another one
go.
there. And one more here. And woo, got to put that one in there right there too. And let's see, we got 3/4 of it done, people.
You're
Three
like the
quarters of it
Joker in
done.
80. You're like the
And let's
Joker.
see. What's deserving us? I got 2 more designs in here to go.
You're
Oh,
like the Joker in 89
we need
Batman in
one
the
more
art museum.
letter right over here. What was
Absolutely,
it?
he is.
Hey, fellas, can you fill in the blank right here? It's JW. What's the third letter?
Oh baby!
Oh.
Okay. I should have came up with that myself. I'm the goddamn president. Why didn't I put that there? Look at J, W, and O right there. And just because I find this entire this is such a nice picture, fellas. Such a nice picture. Anyway, because I love this so fucking much, and I'm laughing my ass off as I do it inside my head and do it in front of all of you people right now. I'm just gonna put 3 big ha-ha-has right along over here, just
You
like
twisted the.
this. And oh, it looks so pretty. I'm gonna save a copy to this too. Anyway, that's going in Google Photos tonight, baby. And tomorrow, my brothers, oh, testify. You're going to love this little piece of artwork I put out right here. Remember, it's nothing special. It's nothing but simplicity to us in the JWO. So don't expect
That's
freaking
right.
Monet or fucking Edgar Allan Poe's Twin Towers, whatever the fucking shit. It ain't nothing important and shit. Just the call letter logo sign. Anyone who's really going to get real offended to this point right now is going to be nobody but the KPW founding fathers. And the office personnel are just going to be puckering their assholes right now. And as far as me going, seeing as I'm about to unleash this puppy tomorrow when I wake up, when the fuck I wake up, by the way, I'm going to post that and just sit back and watch the sparks fly. I don't care
I
who
can't
comments
wait.
or says anything on it and shit, but they're gonna see it and everything. I could possibly even hack into your page if I wanted to right now, because you know how many hackers I got around this tent right now, motherfucker? I could ask any one of these juggalos and lets around me if you can hack into the KPW page, change your shit off all around. But I'm a nice juggalo right now. I'm a nice KPW Interstate Champion juggalo right now, so I'm gonna leave this little piece of artwork right here on my stolen, borrowed tablet. And
Borrowed, CJ. Remember that.
yeah,
Borrowed.
borrowed. For any of you lawyers out there, borrowed, please, borrowed. Borrowed tablet, right? Bad Dobby. Borrowed tablet, right? And
Well, I think
I'm
that
gonna,
should. You
I'm
know
gonna.
what? I think we might want to end it soon now before we revealing too much of the
I'm
JWO
sorry. Hold
lifestyle
on.
to
Yeah,
you.
I'm going to unleash that little drawing out tomorrow. KPW, once again, fuck you guys. Once again, this is what happens when you fuck with me and my fucking family. Oh, you guys
That's right,
deserve
baby.
this.
Yep.
Fuck the founding fathers. We're gonna be
Yeah,
back.
that's right, baby.
JWO is gonna dominate Death Day too. These people aren't
That's
even gonna
right.
understand. They don't know what sickness and madness they've come into now. Now they're in our
The,
world.
the founding fathers are fucking with the wrong group of people, wrong
Oh,
group of
you
people.
damn right.
Now they're gonna be in our world. Believe me.
That's
And
right.
you know. We'll keep close contact. We'll see if there's any more letters coming out. We'll see who else. We're gonna get to the bottom of who else is gonna be there. We're gonna get to the bottom of who you're gonna be fighting, TJ. Who you're gonna be fighting, Rob. If I'm fighting, if I'm doing anything, who knows what they even have me doing? All I know is we're gonna be there, and it's gonna be crazy. It's gonna be wrestling, and I don't even know how professional it's honestly going to be because it's probably going to be a shit show because it
All I know
usually
is
is.
fighting is involved.
There's fighting involved, and if you like fighting, you're gonna like KPW. Thank you, everybody. This has been a great episode. You know, we went over the history. We went talked about the future. We've come up with conspiracy theories. We've talked fucking everything. And you know, I have to give it to you, President. Thank you, TJ Tucker. Thank you, Vice President Rob Roberts.
Not a problem,
KWO
brother.
in the fucking
No
his
problem,
house.
man.
Whoop
Thank you,
whoop.
guys.
You
Thank
take
you,
it
guys.
easy, people. Good
And
night. Whoop whoop.
Later.
we will all
Whoop
see
whoop.
you soon.